Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. I'm back, and considering that hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving weekend, and let's actually get right down to the answering questions episode, shall we? Even though I got one question, but that's okay. John from South Sioux City, Nebraska. He asks, "What are your thoughts on the new craze of saber-toothed cats having their sabers covered?" Well, I've heard about this theory. I mean, it's kind of almost the same theory as theropod dinosaurs actually covered their teeth is because they probably had lips. Now, how if saber-toothed cats ever actually had this? Even though I think it possibly could actually be a really very good possibility that this probably did actually this actually happened. Considering that like you see like a lot of cats today uh, actually have like these lips that actually cover their canines. Um, I would say like a saber-toothed cat like Smilodon. I would actually say the lips probably wouldn't go all the way down to the teeth, all the way down to the tips of the teeth. I don't think that would actually happen. I think they probably actually had lips that probably covered like 2/3 of their canines. So I would actually say about 2/3 of the canines would actually be covered, and then a third would actually be exposed. So that's my guess. But even though a lot of other scientists would actually say they probably were fully covered, like that. But like the Homotherium, they probably actually had lips covering their canines, so it probably might not be that unusual. So that would actually be uh, something to actually think about, considering that the similar tooth cat, which is also Homotherium, I would actually say that would be a really good possibility. In terms of Smilodon, that's a debate. That's a huge debate. Other saber-toothed cats, I mean that I would actually say a lot of them actually did have them, like especially the smaller ones like Denictus. Denictus probably had its canines covered, so that probably might be a really good possibility. I mean, it's out there, but I would actually possibly agree to actually saying that probably a lot of the saber-toothed cats probably did have like these like lips that were probably covered these canines. And considering that these canines probably do need moisture in order to actually be able to cut through any type of flesh. Because even though we actually saw like a lot of these like artist renditions and also like TV shows that shows like the saber-toothed cats, their canines are really exposed to the elements of like the air and all that sorts of stuff. But even though it's interesting to actually say that maybe they possibly did get dry. The teeth got dry, and if they didn't have lips, because that would be a possibility of that they probably didn't have enough moisture, not enough saliva to actually have on the canines to actually be able to slice through the meat. But even though it's still speculation. There's still paleontologists out there that don't believe in this. They actually think that the renditions that we had for so many years are actually correct, and we don't need to change it that much. I mean, yeah, do I think it's possibly going overboard to actually like see that we're going to be adding more parts of the bodies of certain prehistoric animals? Absolutely. I mean, there's gonna be at some point where we might have to accept that maybe like saber-toothed cats did probably have lips covering their canines. We probably might have to accept that theropod dinosaurs probably did actually have lips. We might actually have to uh, accept the possibility of that maybe theropod dinosaurs probably did actually have like display ornaments on their bodies, like we saw in Jurassic Fight Club with Majungasaurus having like all these uh, like these fleshy parts on their skulls and necks for males to actually show off to the females, all that sorts of stuff. But with saber-toothed cats, that's going to be very different. I would actually say it's probably more of like how like modern cats are today, is that they probably actually hid their canines to actually, not only for protection, but also to actually serve to actually have moisture on them, because you see, we actually have lips. Because you see, if we actually did not have lips, our teeth would be exposed to like elements like most of the air. You might actually have insects swarming around our teeth and all that sorts of stuff, and so that would actually be very interesting of like how we actually would have viewed ourselves, in terms of like, and we probably not be able to speak if we didn't actually have lips. We would probably be just talking in tongues most of the time. but but anyway, I would actually say that I'm kind of leaning towards maybe like in terms of like Smilodon, like 2/3 of the teeth would probably be covered, and then out of the canines would be covered, and like the saber-toothed cat, or otherwise Homotherium, I would actually say that that they probably did actually have their canines covered. It's probably the best guess, but I would actually go with that. I would actually kind of go with like maybe the saber-toothed cats did actually have like some sort of like lips to actually cover their canines. Alright, that's it for now, and the next week would actually be a special episode. I've already got 2 dinosaurs to actually possibly talk about, Miragaia and Teratophonius. So that would actually be pretty cool dinosaurs to actually talk about. One a stegosaur, and then the other one is a type of tyrannosaur. So I think that would be kind of pretty cool. Anyway, you can still send me questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life by emailing me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or just go to my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you can actually post your questions on the comments section, or even on the wall on the Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you can actually post like the page, and I post pretty cool stuff on there. And also you can follow me on Twitter at CSGILL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there as well. And also take care of the people around you. And also for younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for good education. It's very important to have a good education. Because with a good education, you get a good job in the future. And I want to make a point out to my friend Greg, who actually is the guy who actually does this podcast. And I recently did actually get to do the podcast and be part of an interview with one of my dear friends, and also an idol of mine, Dinosaur George Blasting. And I know hopefully you get to look at that podcast. It's on YouTube. Look for Prehistory, a guide to prehistoric life. And there it should be out there. Just type in Dinosaur George Blasting Prehistory podcast, or otherwise try to find that podcast as soon as possible. It's audio, so you're not really going to see any faces, and hopefully I would like to do an interview with Dinosaur George at some point, and that way that'd be pretty cool to actually do. But even though it would actually be counted as an extra episode, but even though you wouldn't see me and Dinosaur George talking to each other, you would probably just be hearing us. So it would probably be more like an audio type of video. So it would actually be kind of like a podcast, basically. So it would actually be like the first Prehistoric Facts episode that is actually considered to be a podcast, and that would actually be pretty cool. But like I do it, I mean, it's like what I do is kind of like a video podcast. But even though an audio podcast may come in the future at some point, but most of them you actually are going to find them on YouTube. So that's the way it's going to be. All right, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.